crafters! I'd like to share a video on a technique, and it's certainly not a new or authentic technique, but it's something that I've really gotten into lately, and it's making these handmade embellishments of these glittery butterflies. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I use Vellum. I also use alcohol inks from Ranger, which you can use any kind of alcohol inks really. And then I don't use the blender solution, I just use alcohol. This is the bottle of alcohol I use. Yeah, I just use that. It's just easier, cheaper, and I use StazOn ink to do my stamping, and two other things: stickles, diamond stickles, whatever kind of stickles you like the look of, and then I use black enamel for the body of my butterfly. So basically what I do, just pick out a couple of colors that you really like. I like this watermelon color, as it turns out kind of like this pinkish one. I want some more of that color because I don't have a lot. But I'm also going to add a little bit of this yellow, and I'm also going to add a little bit of blue. And we'll see what we get. Every time I do it, it turns out different, obviously. And then this is how I do my alcohol, since I don't have the blending solution and whatever, which is basically what this is. I just dip my brush in there, and then I just dab it on the top to make them a lot wetter. And then I do the pouncing like everyone else does. I had a lot of alcohol on that one that time. I switched to a different brush, which is probably why I got a lot of it. But I've got a very light covering this time, which, of course, if you go back over it, you can put more color on. But it's really washed out. I'm going to leave that one because I don't have one that looks like that. And I'll show it to you as I go on in the process. I'll bring them back and show you what they look like later on. But I think what I'm going to do is, I do like those. I do like the color of that. That one turned out really nice. I'm going to add, not so much yellow, I think I'm going to add a little bit more of the watermelon, which I just squirted on my hand. Hold on, I'm going to need a baby wipe. I think I'm going to put a little bit more blue, but I'm not going to add any extra alcohol at this point. Let's see what we get with that. Of course, it's a much darker blend, but yet there's still a lot of alcohol in there, so you can see, you can totally tell how wet this is, and that it's making them all fade and blend together. That's kind of a cool look. That one's a lot darker than the first one. I think I'm going to add a couple of little splotchy layers on top of that one. Okay, here's the first one. It's really light. I don't even know, it's hard to tell from my view of the camera if you can see that, but this one's a little bit darker. And I am going to do one more. And this time I'm not going to add any more alcohol again, but I'm going to add quite a bit more of the ink. I'll see if I can get a much darker, brighter look with this one. And then maybe a couple dabs of yellow. Oh yeah, there we go. Now I try not to waste this because the alcohol inks, you can totally just keep using this over and over and over again until you get a lighter and a lighter and a lighter color. That turned out really cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to grab a couple of more because I can make more and more butterflies depending on how many of these I have. If you don't want the entire thing totally blotched with color, you can do one that's just got a little bit of it and not go over. Leave a lot of the white space. That's cool too. This one, I'll leave a little bit more of the white space. You can see it turns out totally different. And I think I can probably squeeze out one more. Actually, I can probably squeeze out two. This one's still really wet. As long as you got the project out and going, you might as well you know, keep using it till it's done. That one's kind of pretty too. Yeah, I'm getting kind of sick of that color. I've already got, what, 1, 5, 6 sheets. Now to clean this up, since if I leave it, it dries on and it doesn't come up as well, I just take my brush back into the alcohol. I just sweep it around. Make sure you've got ventilation in your room because it really does get stinky. I just sweep it around. Make sure I get it all over where that was so it beads up, and then I just take a baby wipe and wipe it off. Really easy cleanup. Make sure you put the covers back on all of your stuff. And then I'll show you how to get going on the butterfly part. So I came out with 5 different patterns using those 3 colors. I put them on a white background here so you could really see the difference of the patterns. And these are the ones that I will use for my next batch of butterflies. So, moving on with the tutorial. To get your stays on, I believe Memento is another one that doesn't run. You would get out your butterfly stamp. I use this one because it has a lot of open space in it. You can use any butterfly stamp you want, but if you want the background that you just created to really show, you want to do that. And you want to make sure that you're stamping on the side that the ink was actually on. Because as you can tell, if you look from the other side, it's just not as bright of a color. I push it till it sticks, and then I flip it over, and then I give it a nice rub down on the back because I want that image to come out clearer. Then you have that at that point. Here's another one that I did that's in kind of a green. Same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and, I'm not going to fussy cut them out right away because you want a little bit of this for them to be able to dry once you put on the glitter. So I'm going to show you right away how that works. What I do is I just put on a bunch of glitter around the bottom and the top like this. And then I take a little paintbrush that I have and I brush it down. Now, you don't have to make sure you stay in the middle, mostly because we're going to be fussy cutting these out. I try to just because I think it makes it a little bit easier to follow that cut line, but it doesn't really matter. I do one wing at a time, then I come back in and I go around. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to protect that middle body part because that's where I want to add my black. And I don't want all the glitter on there. Because for the body part I use the black, what's it called? The black enamel. Looks just like glitter glue. It comes in the same little bottle. The more of the glitter glue that you add, or the stickles if you want to call it that, the more your paper's going to bubble and turn like this, which gives the butterfly the coolest effect of being really real and having a lot of texture. So you want that. Don't worry that your paper is going to be bubbling up like that. I always keep a pin handy just in case the end clogs. And my last thing is that I put on a round head right there, and then I just bring this down for the body. This is a really bad example because this really is totally clogged. I've never had this clogged before. It's usually so super runny that too much comes out at once. But you get the gist. If you accidentally stick your finger in it, like I kind of did on the edge, which wasn't a big deal, just go back in with your stickles and cover that up. And then let it dry. If you're not happy with the look of it, add more stickles. You can really tell that it's bubbling up and rippling, and it's starting to look like a real one. A real butterfly. I'm gonna even that out a little bit there. So that's what you end up with. Let me see if I can get a white piece. There. And that one's going to be very, very, very pastel one. But what a cool look. I like that. So that's the end of my tutorial. That's how you do it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the box below. And I hope you'll try them out. And if not, you can always find some of my embellishments and things I make for sale on my website, which is qualitycrafts.weebly.com. Thanks for watching.